sit here, I'll move.
There should be more than enough room.
Yeah.
There's
I
4
actually-
seats back there.
You can move that back there because I'm gonna sit here so I can, it's easier for the light.
Yeah, you just meeting public.
Okay, so we're gonna open up the policy meeting.
Okay.
The first one on the agenda is special education. It's in the least restrictive environment.
We don't have this policy.
Correct.
Right?
No.
No,
That's
this is
the
a
one
new
that's
one,
missing.
correct? This was NISBA's recommendation, if I remember.
It is.
Correct.
And
It's a-
ironically enough, it's aligned with the special ed
Correct.
plan
Right.
that was board approved
Right.
last 2 months ago. And the policy just supports it further.
So it's not a federal, just understand, it's not a federal mandate, but it's a New York State mandate.
Yes, and it follows all special ed mandates.
It is a federal mandate.
It goes
Yeah,
from
I
federal
I
to
mean, having a
state.
policy is
Right.
probably a state
State.
mandate, but the least restrictive
I hear you.
environment.
Is-
is-
No, I
Yeah.
meant the
State.
policy. The
Oh,
policy
okay.
wasn't
Policy.
federal.
It was actually the recommendation of NISBA to
Yeah.
have it, and ironically enough, at the same time, we redid our special ed plan, which reflects, the policy supports it further.
So are we doing these things? We're doing these things right now. aren't we?
Yeah.
We have voting on it. Oh, we're doing them,
Yeah.
oh, I
No,
just
I
meant
meant, no,
the
we're
doing
board.
these
Yeah, we
things.
do
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
now we're just finalizing it,
Um,
memorializing it.
I just have one question with this, as far as
Sure.
services. I know that we have the children included, like we have co-teaching.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're still gonna get the, it won't be a cutback
yeah.
on services.
No,
We're doing
no.
this, Okay,
Yeah, this
You
is
can't
just-
do that.
You can't
Yeah.
cut back on something.
so that's fine.
Anybody have any other questions on this one?
Completely on board.
So, the only question that I have is, there's other ones on this list of ones that NISBA recommended, this block of red.
Where are you?
By
Yes.
putting this on the
Page
tracking
two.
sheet.
Page two.
Page 2 on the tracking sheet.
Thank
So this
you.
is 4321, I'm assuming we're keeping the same number.
Mhm.
Yes,
Um,
it worked.
The other block here that NISBA had recommended, the 4322 through, well, these are also duplicate numbers here,
Yes.
4321, so we gotta clean those up. But are we gonna wind up with any gaps by not putting these policies into place at the same time? Do we have any issues with that, or is this okay to do on its own?
Because
and-
they're all
Because
relative
they're
to
all
special
kind
ed.
of, yeah,
We're following the plan, and we're
Okay.
following the mandates.
submitted, okay, that was the only
Yeah,
concern that I had, I just wanna make sure.
We're not
that-
not doing them because there's not a policy.
Right.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
This is just.
We're
putting
not
the
not
policy-
doing
Yeah,
it
right.
because there's no
We're already
policy.
doing it.
I do
Already
have a
done it.
question about this spreadsheet. I'm
Yes.
just confused, right? So blue needs to be revised, this is from NISBA, right?
Right.
So we
Right.
did the purchasing, so
Correct.
on the left shows that we did it, right? So
Which
the
left?
next, on the left column, it
Okay.
says series.
Mhm.
Are we not going in order, because the next one was medical family leave act? Like, why are we skipping around, I guess is my question. Or
Which one
am I
was-
not
Well,
seeing it over
because
here?
these are okay,
No, we're
right?
doing all
The
the
No,
red.
the blue needs to
The
be
blue
revised.
needs to be done.
So on this list, the next, it seems, would have been family medical leave act.
Uh-huh.
What, why are we skipping around?
Wait, I'm not seeing, where's
On the
the
Go all the
bottom,
way down
Jen,
to the
The
bottom.
third from the bottom, the first page.
4152.
We're taking one red
41,
and one
52.
blue.
Oh,
Oh.
no, I think the intent was to do all the reds first.
But we're taking one red and one blue.
Oh,
That's what we-
right, because you did purchasing. It's a good question. Can we add family medical leave act for next month?
Jenny, Joe, you got that?
I mean, it just,
Joanne, can we add
Yes.
that?
For next
Just try to
month?
keep them in
Yeah.
order.
Next month.
I think this
They're
one,
done.
and academic intervention services are above this also, that's,
Yep.
Do you wanna do two next month? You wanna try to do two next month?
So
Two
why don't
blue?
you, why don't you
Two
do
blues.
4152 and then 4300?
41,
well, which blues?
52, and then 40.
it's on the second page at
This
the
is a
top.
red. 9170 was a recommendation from the board member. 9115, recommendation from the, and 9200. This is the only one I think that we're reviewing that was NISBA recommended at this point?
No,
They
no,
all-
I'm
right?
just asking if we're going in order,
Yeah,
right? So the
mhm.
blue needs to be revised, the red is
Yes.
new.
Mhm.
So if we're going in order, because I'm looking on the left column of what we did, so it
Mhm.
looks like family medical leave should have been next for us to review if we're going in order to be organized.
If this is
Right,
the
I-
order
I-
that we're going in.
Correct.
Correct.
But
This
I
is-
think the intent was here was, it was red,
Okay.
so we started with the first red one. But we can go back and do
Yeah,
both.
yeah. So
Right?
just,
I think it
just
may
to
have just
put
been an
policies in
oversight,
place
it's like
that are
down
missing.
here, it's already moved,
Right, but
Hmm.
also academic, I guess my thing is if NISBA is making recommendations for things that need to be revised, I feel like that should be a priority.
Right.
They came and ordered us, we
Yeah,
paid them
yeah.
to do this, so
Right,
why
right.
not do what
Yeah.
they recommend?
mhm. So make sure it
So
goes
let's
in
make
order.
sure that 4152 is on next month.
I'll do 4152, and now if you look at
I
the
have
next
it
page,
4,300.
there's a
4,300.
there's a 4300.
Yes.
Okay, so
I
I'll
mean,
put
and then
those
if you
two-
wanted to
those
do
two for
three,
next month?
I mean, if you wanted to be ambitious, you could do then the next red, availability of alternate format instruction material, I mean,
Well,
I'm
it
just
looks like
saying, if you
these
wanted
should all go together.
The whole
That
block
whole
of
red
red,
block.
right? That's what I was
Well,
saying
special
about
ed.
this.
That might have to be a
Actually,
full
like 3.1
night.
all the way down.
but then we should have did all special ed together, right?
Right, that was going
Well,
to.
yeah, but that's different. Least restrictive environment is a little different than these are. So I could see would be done by itself, but why not? I think this block, if you're gonna do all these 4321s,
Do them all at once.
I would do them all
I
at
would
once.
do them
That's
all
a
Oh, yeah,
at
big
because to be
block.
honest with you, it is easier to do it if we don't
Yeah.
have it, and Joanne and I
Right.
have spent many hours talking
So
about
why don't we do the two that you had said and
For
then the
January.
452.6R? If
Can
we
we
need to,
Can we do all the red ones, if it's all right if I recommend to do all the red ones in February?
yeah, why
that.
not?
That
As long
deal
as we don't
with
have a gap.
special
But
ed.
we
Yeah.
don't have a
Right.
gap. Is that
Yeah,
all
we're
right with
not.
everyone? Because when we
Yeah.
revise an existing policy, it's a lot of back and forth to council, and even though two policies
Yeah.
doesn't seem
Yeah.
like a lot, it actually takes us
Okay.
like maybe about 2 weeks to get it like finalized. So I think if we try to do all of them,
Yeah.
I hate to make a mistake, that's all.
Why don't we put this whole red block of 4322 together? That's a good
For
idea.
February.
For February.
Yes.
Okay, so
Is
February.
everybody okay with that?
February.
And then
Okay.
for the
So
next
that's
one,
gonna
you
be on
wanna do,
Feb.
no,
Oh,
We
what are
would
skipping?
start going down.
January will be 4152, family
Right.
medical leave act.
There you go.
And 4300.
And then 4300 academic intervention services, and then can we get aggressive and go down to computer use and internet safety since
I was
they
gonna
kind of tie together?
you mean,
I-
community
if you
use
do-
and
Or do you
instruction
wanna wait?
regulation, you mean, that would be the next blue one.
Which one?
It's computer.
4526R.
It's a regulation, community
Right,
use and
exactly.
instruction, it already has a policy, we just need a regulation.
We
need
have
to
a
revise
regulation
our
that has to be
regulations.
revised.
Right,
Do you really wanna
Right.
try to do 3?
I mean, why, the thing is that you could put it on there, and if we don't get to it, we don't
We
get
don't
to
get
it.
to it.
So then
Yeah.
you push it over
Exactly.
for the next,
I wasn't talking about the policy committee meeting, I was actually trying, I didn't know
about
if
the
you.
policy.
Draft the pop,
Yeah,
draft them.
actually draft them and have them for first read in January, maybe I'm misunderstanding.
How could you how could you have a draft of something for a first meeting without a discussion first?
Oh, because, well,
This is the discussion, right?
Isn't-
Yeah,
This is the
policy
discussion,
meetings.
but are you
Well,
saying?
don't we usually
that
pick
the-
up the NISBA,
Template.
we
Wait a
usually
second.
have a
You look at the
template that
NISBA
give us a
version?
discussion.
Okay, wait, this is,
We never
maybe
draft
I
them.
maybe I misunderstood.
no, wait, I
Go
know
ahead.
Joanne's been around a while too. So usually what happens at a policy meeting is we go over it, we make the changes, Joanne does it, Joanne goes back with council. The first reading is at the next meeting. We can't have a
Right.
first reading at the very meeting that we're
Right.
walking into.
Unless there's no changes.
We have never
We
done that.
don't-
I think
we
that's
don't.
super ambitious and it may cause for mistake. I think it's a,
Oh, yes.
Don't
Why don't we
you
just
agree,
do
Joanne?
two?
Yes. So, at the
Yeah.
next meeting, it will be a first read for the 2 policies that we are
Just do 'em
picking.
right.
And you guys will see it on the board report.
right, we
Or the
can't go
Yeah.
into a meeting
Yeah.
with a policy we're just discussing.
For all the red ones, you're saying?
No,
No, the next one would be
Okay.
the blue. The next one would be the
Next one would
first
be
page,
the
Family
blue.
Medical
So-
Leave Act.
this one.
That'd be February would be the red, okay. I
February's
got
the
it.
red.
And then
February.
academic intervention services,
Got
and you
it.
think the
Correct.
regulation is too much to put on it?
I do, but I'll put it in as a footnote, we could discuss it again.
Well, I don't know, how do people feel?
You
Well,
think
if
we're
you
going
get to it,
to-
you get it, if you don't, you don't, then you push it off,
Do you
you
wanna
know.
try? All right,
Yeah.
Might as well put it on the agenda,
Okay.
because it's better to
no problem, I'll
try
put it
if
in.
we can, and
Okay.
if they time permitting, and we have to push it to the
45,
following month, then we have to
26
push it to
on,
the following month, but
so
at least
the-
it's on the agenda.
Computer use regulation.
Can I make one other suggestion?
Mhm.
That's something that came up at the high school with the Eid holiday. They had said they wish they knew that the policy was they knew that the policy was being discussed because they would have liked to be here and observe and been here.
Mhm.
Is there a way when we do a Connect Ed to say we're having a
What
policy
policy
meeting,
you're talking about?
policy A, B, and C will be discussed. This way, with the people that
Posted, right?
is it on there?
I put on the agenda. I put the
Yeah, she
agenda
puts
on
it on the
agenda.
the morning of every meeting that we have. So the agenda's on our
Oh, so
website.
it's
Well,
just
well,
on
what I'm saying is, can't we push out the information at a Connect Ed? Not everybody goes on the website. These people would have liked to have a Connect Ed because they would have liked to be here. So I think that might be a good idea.
Well, do we put the
Possibly, I
policy,
think-
do we put the agenda on Connect Ed, won't we just do that then, start putting it on?
Well, I think you do, right?
It-
You said at the Connect Us In is a meeting and then
I don't think the
they know where to.
agenda's
Is there
there's
an alert?
information on where to
The-
get this.
There are no e-alerts for agendas.
So maybe
The
we could
agenda.
just do an e-alert,
Could we do that?
Yeah.
that the agenda's now posted.
Well, why not just send the agenda? I
That's
don't
what think you're
understand.
saying. Oh,
But
I
you're
see what
saying-
you're
so you're
Hard to
saying-
do that.
Here's our alert. Go to the
Because we
website. Why not
do
just
change
we
be
do that?
helpful
the
and send
agenda.
it?
Because
Because
there
you-
has been feedback that we're over communicating with emails, that they would just, but that's just certain feedback, doesn't mean we can't do that. But an e-alert just tells people when you have a moment, do that. An email is you still have to look at it, you have to open it. So it's either way, you can have the information, it's not that you can't have it.
I think that they felt that I don't know that everybody's overly involved. So I think that when you send it to a parent, they can make the decision. Either I'm
Well,
interested
how
or
do
I'm
they
not
do it at the
interested.
high school?
I'm not sure, but I'm talking about North
Yeah.
America.
I don't think that we do.
No, I'm
Well, I
aware
know
of
I
that,
don't
I'm just
think we do
wondering
that.
if
I
it's
don't know.
working at the
I don't
high
think
school,
they
then we
do
can take a
that.
look
I
at
don't
it.
get
I
anything
never
in
get
my daughter's
anything from the
in
high
seventh
school
grade.
that says this is the
I
agenda.
Yeah.
don't get any.
I don't get
alerts,
anything
no
like
nothing.
that.
You just tell
At
people
all.
where to go.
I-
If they wanna
I mean,
look,
it's
they'll
up,
look.
I
it's
just-
up to the board.
I mean, I don't see the harm either, like Ed said, just attach it
Well,
to the
here's-
email or push it out in the information. I just, like, for this specific thing, it did come out, like, and I did feel badly listening, like, they would have liked to observe it because they felt good that we were talking about it.
That's why I'd like to get dates on here, to be honest, so that we map out what's getting reviewed when. So
Right.
this way, someone can go on and say, you know what, it looks like
Oh,
we're
is this
gonna review
online?
it. Not yet. So I thought last time we talked about putting dates as to when this is
Potential
gonna
dates
get.
that are going to be
To be
discussed.
discussed?
Can we
Potential, they anticipated.
focus on that this month?
Okay,
To
so
get that?
I'll make a row of anticipated dates. I have to write anticipated because like.
No,
you-
100% is anticipated, because obviously if
looking
we
at
don't
the
get
time
through
now.
some-
But I have a question. If you put out the agenda, when do you
I
put
always
the
do it
agenda?
the
A
morning.
day before?
The morning of. The morning of any meeting.
So why not the morning of?
I
Just
have.
send an email with the agenda. Like, I don't, like,
So you
why not
want-
make life easier for our parents?
So you
or our
want the,
residents?
every time I put up the agenda the morning of the meeting, say, hey, the agenda's up, you can see it now? with
No,
the-
I'm saying send it to,
Actually send
send
As
the
a
agenda.
document?
We have a policy meeting tonight, or whatever it is, a board meeting tonight. Here's the agenda. And people either
It's
will
up to you
delete it,
guys.
or they'll be interested.
The,
What?
I don't know, what's the downside?
the only downside that I
Yeah,
see, just throwing it out there,
Yeah.
is when there's so many things going out to parents, it becomes like crying wolf, for lack of a better term. So it's like you get blasted with so much information, you have a hard time figuring out what's really important. And I know people can sift through it, that's not the point, but it's like, if you're getting emails every other day,
But this is
or
only once a month.
in addition to everything
Like
else
the
they're already
school
getting.
ones?
So it's
No, I'm
like,
just saying, it's once
all
a,
of
I
these
don't,
connect
This
eds
is,
that we're
yeah.
getting on a regular basis, it's a
We don't
lot.
only have meetings once a month.
So just throwing that out there, that's the only concern that I have, is that people won't read everything anymore and miss something important with the school. That would be my only concern. Cause so far I've gotten,
emails
just
different
this
from the,
week,
from the principals than from the district? Does it say the principal's name, or does everything just say North America?
No, they do say
So-
principals.
So then people can see
Depending on what it
the
is.
This
differentiate.
would come from district.
I just don't see the downside.
Neither do I.
Okay, so when I put up the agenda,
That's
I'll make it an e-alert so people.
If you start complaining, then we'll talk.
Yeah,
If
talk
we
too
have
much.
I don't
complaints,
think
then
they
revisit
want
it.
Like
it,
stop
I think they want a Blackboard Connect. Right?
Oh, I don't know the difference.
There is a difference.
That's
That's
it.
There is a
Yeah.
difference.
Right.
Yeah.
I had suggested an e-alert, and you
Mhm.
said, which would be, please take a look at the agenda online. You want the
The actual
actual
doc-
Oh, yeah, I
agenda.
want the actual
That's
document
Blackboard
sent.
Connect.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Black
Does
The
the high
actual-
school do that?
The actual
Does high school send
agenda.
out the agenda?
I have no idea.
Can you find that out?
No, we.
Can you find out whether
Yeah,
or
I don't
not?
think they
Because
do.
they don't.
I don't think they
Because
do.
I should get them and I don't.
I don't
But I think you have to go to the high school meeting then and say that you want that.
So this is just for the policy agenda,
Oh, no, I just think in
is this
general,
for every
I,
monthly
She's saying
agenda?
for everyone, I think.
I just,
Is that what all districts do? I don't know, not that I'm saying we have to follow all
I
districts.
really don't know, I just feel like,
I don't know that any district
In this-
does
Black Book
that.
in this
that's what we're
example, I mean, you
talking
heard
about.
them,
We
Ed.
also
I mean, they
have
were kind of
e-alerts,
passionate
which
about
is,
it.
Yeah.
can we
I
just
think
check the
that was-
website?
And they were very articulate and
Well, that's
kind
something
about
we
it.
could talk
Well,
to
we
them
get
about, but
learning
I'm
time.
like,
I don't
Alright,
know
so
why
what do
you're
we, what's the
opposed to it.
decision on that? We're just gonna try it out, and if people
say-
start complaining that
Oh,
it's
we're
over
voting on
communicating,
it
then we'll
tonight.
pull back?
I say it's fine.
Try it out?
Good, good
I think
idea.
it's fine.
Try it
As a
out.
parent, I'm
More
gonna open it, if
information.
I'm interested, I'm gonna
Try
go,
it
if
out.
I'm not, I'm gonna delete it.
So
Okay.
say, I mean, if we get feedback, you know, that it's,
Well, that's what we do.
that's what I think.
Right, yeah. And then the high school does that, the high school has the
So-
agendas.
And so I don't know.
The next one,
Okay, so about
we wanted on
meals.
review was 9170 and 9170R years of regulation, and 9172 and 9172R. Those are board expenses. Let's see. Here.
It's
Do
a
you want
new
me
one,
to
too.
speak to this, just because I had
Request to put
brought
on
this
there?
up?
Go ahead.
The only thing that I was looking to actually put in here, if you know, you wanna consider it is, what happened is years ago, a board member stayed overnight in the city, and I think it was 2 nights they stayed overnight, and it was a big controversy, a big discussion on the board. So it was best practice, since then, that if it was a local conference or convention, that it would be travel, reasonable, I mean. I mean, if it's, I think Rockland County, they stayed overnight, like something far enough, but it was close enough to do there. So I guess just in light of everything that happened is, because there was controversy, should we, shouldn't we, what's best? I mean, I would like the language to be that if it's, you know, a reasonable commute to go there, because
Okay, but I think the other flip side of that is, in evaluating that entire situation, we did do a lot of like number crunching. Would it be cost effective for us to stay or cost effective for us to come home? And I don't remember off the top of my head what district it was, but because it would be past a certain hour, especially with the free dinner, with the cocktail party we were invited to for dinner, was that everybody was entitled to take either Uber or taxi home. So if you have 4 people taking an Uber home, it was over $100 per person, which is over $400 total.
but who said that you're in, like, just to give
we
you like,
didn't
We
just,
didn't, yeah.
No,
we
but
didn't-
I'm saying that's what we were looking at, saying,
Okay.
well, at this time, am I going to get on a train at
but
midnight?
we have, but what I'm saying is in the past, we have, and I've traveled and I did it, and other board members that aren't here have done it. I think for the city, it was myself, Lisa Katz, Neil Brown, Skip Hale, all of us went back and forth, and we did, and we went to the dinners. And because really, I mean, I'm all for a convention and professional development, I think it's great, but, and you stay for those things for networking, but it is reasonable, I mean, people in Merrick commute every day, sometimes they have to work late, they come home, I don't think it's unreasonable to get on a train, I think people do it.
see, I'll be honest with you, I do commute every single day, and it would have been really nice to not have to commute another time. I'll be honest with you, I found that I just decided I was gonna take myself out of that controversy, because I thought it was a little, I really thought it was I don't even know how to feel about that, but I felt like of all things, that was a really unimportant thing that people got very upset about, like, I don't want to put a limit on that because we don't know who we're going to have in the future who might actually need to stay in the city.
Yeah.
What if you have somebody who is, I don't know, like someone who's in a wheelchair, we're going to make them get back on? I mean, I'm not saying we should, like, I'm just saying that to
I
put
think
limits
the
on
policy
that,
says reasonable,
to
I
put
can't
limits on
put it
that
this way.
is
think
just
Yeah.
kind
I
of,
think like what we do is I think as board members, we're all being responsible
We
and looking
are.
at the budget and saying like what's fiscally responsible for our district. As in years past and looking at other history, there have been trips to say Buffalo where, not to get into nitty gritty, but I'm going to say I trust that the decisions made by those 2 board members who traveled to Buffalo were made in the best decision of this district.
You
Right.
So I
can't,
would
but you
hope-
can't come back and forth to Buffalo, it's 8 hours, that's the
Yes,
difference.
but you don't have to stay 2 nights either. I know people in business who fly up one day, come back the
The
next, or.
convention is
You
3
could
days.
fly.
So Buffalo
Right, but
and
maybe you don't stay 3
Buffalo,
days.
Buffalo is, you're going for professional development. I think what's happening here is like, I'm just looking to say, I think on here, I don't
That's
even
the
know where it
key. I think
says it.
You're
It
going
says,
for professional development is the whole key, and these are people who are volunteers, you know, board members are volunteers, they're volunteering their time, and they're volunteering their days and their lives to being trained at those workshops, I think let that simmer.
Right,
I
it's
can
not
say,
like we're
talking to other board
going.
members who were there, who their policies said if it's commutable, they must commute, they were bitter. They did not fully engage in all of the potential networking that was involved. It was a whole different aura for them when
I mean,
I was
you've been
talking
to these,
them.
you
I have.
know
I think it's
how-
great.
Right, you think it's great,
I
right?
do.
But you also know how long that day is.
Very long.
And you know how much better it would be if you're there to that late hour, right? You're able to engage and immerse yourself in all that stuff, and then go lock away and crash, or within the same hotel, and crash, wake up the next morning, have breakfast, and network, and do all those things instead of commuting back and forth. There's a benefit to that makes it a little bit more productive.
I
And
don't
I've done
think-
it, I've done it before because I presented at one. I know the caliber of it, and I know how much it goes on. It's
But
very,
it does say may be reimbursed for
intense.
reasonable actual and necessary out of pocket. I'm just saying, like, if it was Melville, you know, we commute. If it's Huntington, we
No, I
commute. If
wasn't.
it's Manhattan, what, Melville? Yeah, we have, there's
No, I
professional
I
development
was
there.
not reimbursed. I didn't know I
wasn't
could be reimbursed.
for any travel.
No, what I'm
But-
saying is you don't stay overnight. Maybe I'm not.
No,
I'm
no,
just
of course
articulating.
not.
No.
But
I
you
just
know-
think that people do this
But
all the
this is a
time, and I
2-day
don't know
convention.
why.
But we know our district, and I don't think there's anybody here who's not fiscally responsible of what we
Right.
do with this budget. And, you know, I'm just saying, I think putting limits on it says to you, I don't believe you're fiscally responsible.
I think it's watching out for
You
the
know, I
taxpayers'
wasn't
dollars.
reimbursed either, and I used my own train ticket. I wasn't reimbursed for that. I wasn't going to ask for that. Why would I ask for that?
I didn't
We
know.
didn't
Didn't
we
either,
didn't
no.
even ask to be reimbursed for a lunch we had. Why would we?
Nope.
That would be ridiculous. We're doing this. This is professional development, but we are all extremely cognizant of what this district is and what money we have. And none of us are going to go overboard.
Right.
And
to
be
the
like-
continental breakfast, that was great.
Yeah,
And I will say,
I
we
find
had to be
putting
at
limits on it
meetings
to be a
early.
little.
I don't know how it was in the years
It's
past,
like
but there
8
were too
o'clock.
many
I
people.
think it's
It's early.
like
Yes, but if you weren't
That's a
there a half
6:30
hour early,
train.
you weren't getting a seat.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
were locked out of
Yeah.
like a
Locked
few.
out.
just- We just have to be conscientious of the taxpayers'
But
money.
we
It's
are.
not our money
We
to
are.
say.
And we
oh,
are, and
sorry.
we're not
My
even
mon- it's
asking
my
the
money,
taxpayers
too.
to
Right.
reimburse
I'm a
us.
taxpayer.
Technically, according
You
to
guys
these
could overrule me.
policies, I can reimburse for travel going back and forth to all the training classes that we've done.
I've
And
never
we
been
never
neither
do.
have I. I didn't
Exactly.
do that
Right.
either.
But we-
So I
none
think
of us
we are all
do.
being very, so I think to say that we're not being fiscally responsible, I think is an inaccurate statement.
No,
I
what
think
I
all of
asked
us
was,
at this
I just
table
asked
have
for
been
language
very-
to be put in there. What I
Yeah.
just said is that I would like the language to be put in there, that if it's a reasonable distance, that it's a daily commute. That's what I asked for. And you
But
guys.
what's a
Or
daily
Yeah.
commute
define
at what time?
reasonable.
Well, so something that's
A
reasonable.
daily commute is 9 to 5, so to speak.
Right.
But, but we have people that work here that take the train back and forth. You take the
Yeah, but
train,
it's
you take
different.
the
You
train.
can't
It's
compare, you
different.
keep comparing people who go to work, yes, they go to work,
It's
their
only
jobs.
2 days, but.
But but we're here as volunteers, okay, and we're going above and beyond for the betterment of the district, you know, we're putting out away from our families and not for a salary and not for, you know, our own personal gain. We're here because we're giving to the district. I believe, when you talk about the people out there, people are not angry that the Board of Ed spent some money to try to make this place better by learning more about governing and being better board members. I truly believe that they are not angry
I don't think
about
they're
that.
mad at
Well, it
that.
sounds
Like,
like
I didn't
you're
know.
saying
I'm saying,
you
I'm saying
are.
overnight. I
putting
mean,
into
do
a
you do
policy
that? You
that
work for a
says-
public entity,
I'm not gonna
right?
say what I do, but I'm gonna just ask one thing. According to these policies, it's possible reimbursement. It's not a given anyway, so they're all, everything's subject to approval anyway,
good.
so.
Which I just do wanna remind everybody that when you do have expenses, to make sure you follow the right process for reimbursement for those expenses.
What is the right process?
The right process is to lay it out, and then you get reimbursed by the district. And I
Keep
believe
all your
it would be an
receipts.
agenda item that we would approve for reimbursement.
Really?
How else
We
could you
never
do
did
it?
that before, I don't think.
Wouldn't it
We
have
never
to
did that
be-
before,
No,
an
we-
agenda
Or
item.
maybe, I guess
Well,
then
no.
maybe
We
it
have
would just be
that it already authorizes.
authorized, okay.
Yeah, we never
that's
did
right.
that.
Okay.
So how else would you do it if you didn't put it out first? Someone puts it out for you, how is that?
You wouldn't. I don't think you would.
That's
You wouldn't
done,
like
you said?
get like a bunch of money, we don't do that, and then just go spend it and go, here's my receipt, we don't do that.
I'm wondering how
Unless
else
you
it's
have-
done.
Let's talk about the past, let's just move forward.
So I guess we need to go around the table to see, do everybody wanna leave this as is, or make any modifications to it?
I'll leave it.
And
Leave it.
Tracy,
Leave it.
Megan, leave or change?
Leave it.
Leave it?
I'd like it modified.
Leave it.
Okay, I say leave it as well. Okay, so this one we're gonna stay as is.
Okay, so those are all the 9170s and the 9172, right?
91,
Yeah.
it's all the same.
Because they're kind of, I didn't know what to pick.
Oh, these are all the reimbursements?
Yeah,
Okay.
they reference the Board of Education, so I just
Right,
grabbed
and
them.
it does talk about that there is, limit on
Reasonable.
meals, et cetera, so,
Okay.
okay. That one, the next one on the, drowning in paper. The next one is 9115, board member authority and board exhibit. Who still needs to sign the exhibit?
I have my list in that red folder on my desk.
Okay, that's fine.
I thought you had a red
Okay.
folder there.
I do, but I don't
I
have the
just-
right red folder. I will give it to everyone before they leave today.
Okay.
Because I was under the impression it was per term, it wasn't per year, that's why I forgot to give
What?
it
We
to
had
them.
agreed to do this every
Code of
year.
conduct.
You're in the
Yeah.
Code of conduct per year, what do you have?
Yeah,
Per
I
said
term?
again,
I thought it
Tika.
was I'm very annoyed.
Wait, what, the meals and refreshments were done with?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, that was all.
Thanks, Megan.
Sure. Oh, you
Actually,
have
I
it.
think everyone owes me it except for my
Why
two new
bother
board
going?
members.
Right.
So if you don't mind, all
Here, can we
my,
have you sign this blue one?
please, all my senior
Where is it?
people, it's in there.
Oh, it's this.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
right
yeah.
here.
Megan
Oh.
might have
This is
signed.
supposed
Megan
to
might
sign
have signed.
annually.
The only
That's
thing
Dave.
you guys
This
do.
is the
That's it.
board
Megan, I didn't
conduct.
get yours, Megan. I don't know if you ever scanned it to me, because I kept checking. No?
Which one?
No,
I
no,
gave it to you now.
When I
So,
emailed you, I
Okay,
meant.
I did scan it on the back, but.
Okay, no big deal.
Okay,
Sign it now.
Would you like me to sign it again?
No, I don't need you to
No,
sign
you're
it.
signing it.
I
You
did.
do.
December 11, 2018.
Okay,
Oh,
This is
Yeah.
just,
Beautiful.
thank you.
such a great.
And Wendy, you too, right? What, I have
Yep.
everyone? I have everyone.
Okay, so now that we've talked about signing it, which is great, this was brought up, one, to make sure that we sign it, and then also to see if anybody wanted to make any modifications to the school board powers of duties and the code of conduct exhibit, or as is. I know that.
can I just see the code of
Is it
conduct
smart?
back again?
Sign mine.
This
don't
one?
have it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
It's a blank one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's it.
It's okay.
Oh, I have an extra one too, if anybody needs it.
Did anybody want to open this up, or are we good as is on this one?
I think that the only thing that we were going to discuss on adding, or perhaps adding, would be a social aspect, especially since for our children, we're doing a lot of special
Cyber.
Social media.
social media educational services and with everything that's happened in recent
wait, what,
weeks with
For
social
a board member.
for a board member.
what
Okay.
And
about,
like starting it here.
Well, and then are we gonna look at that for students as well soon?
I
We
think
have
that's
something
soon,
in
but
there,
we're doing.
but we
Wait,
wanna- yeah.
well,
Yeah.
wait,
I just-
explain what you mean, I'm not following. Just-
Social
I
media
didn't-
aspects.
Of this one?
The exhibit?
The code of
Code of
conduct
conduct, board
exhibit?
member, code of
Your
conduct.
We wanna put something in about,
but the issue with that
just signed
is,
it,
and because
so
we've
it's
talked about this, and most of the policies out there actually have to do with teachers and students and social media. And it comes back time and time again, you're encroaching on someone's First Amendment rights. So we're all here as residents and taxpayers first, and because of that, we're board members. So I don't think that you can actually put that in a policy, and anything when you reach, with NISBA, they do say that, it's conversation or whatever, they recommend actually not putting it in a policy because it's ever changing and because of the First Amendment issue, so I don't think that you can put that in.
It wasn't anything about putting about your First Amendment, because obviously you can say everything, but the question becomes whether you should, or if it's a matter of just if something you see on social media, pointing them in the right direction of the chain of commands. That's what I was told when I called NISBA to ask about it. So I think that that's okay, and that came from their legal office, that if we wanted to look at that and saying whether, if you, I'm a board member and I'm reading on social media, well, I saw something happened at Camp Avenue
Oh,
today.
you mean like Merrickmont? We've done that before, though. We have said, call the superintendent, call the principal. I don't think you need a policy, it's just that.
I don't think it's a
common
policy, I
sense.
think I'm adding to it or something, or what you shouldn't say, or
What
on
do you mean,
So
social
what is the
media.
language that you're looking to add or that we're
I don't know, but I
referring
think
to?
NISBA had a suggestion.
Like
Is there
correcting.
suggestions?
Yeah, I can look at that.
Like notifying members of the community, like one of our responsibilities would be to notify members
Not a
of.
responsibility, but just
But
saying
this
like,
quote, like
so if we know something or
notifying-
pertinent to a situation that happened, should we go ahead on social media and say, no, this is what actually happened? No, we shouldn't. We should say either call the school or.
Why would we respond? I'm just curious, why would you
Yeah.
respond to
We
that?
wouldn't, but some people in the past have.
I, just so you know, because I guess that's directed at me, I absolutely have when things have gotten out of control, and I think Jen has seen it on there too. Where
Not
something
anymore.
gets out of there, and I'll say, you know what? The best place to go is to not hear rumors, not hear gossip, go to your principal, go to your superintendent, and that diffuses things. I mean, to put it in a policy, I don't know why you would have to put
So
that in
what
a
would the
policy.
language be that you would be seeking to put in the policy for that? So if you want an opinion as to whether it's violative of your First Amendment rights, because you do have rights, remember, individual board members have, okay, should I be discussing this in the public session?
This is public.
I know.
Yeah, just wanted
It's
to.
almost like.
Oh,
a-
that's what I'm saying, the other way.
Legal
I
advice.
don't know if there's
Yeah.
language that we want to add, because that's a new, that's
Sorry,
a new,
that's where you
that's a
go.
new piece of our pie of our
Took a
future.
spin.
It's a piece of our pie with our students or whatever, so I think if we look at it from the top down, it applies to us as well.
Well,
So
but
I
there-
didn't know
so you
whether
kinda
that
have
was-
like a dual kind of issue,
Right.
where as an individual, you do have rights.
Right, that's what we're
Well, why wouldn't it
discussing.
mirror the same policy we have for the
The
teachers and
student.
kids? Why would it be
I'm not
different?
saying
Why
mirror
would
a
we not have the
policy,
same-
I'm saying we
Right.
want
Question.
to add language to a
Right.
code of conduct about whether we should or shouldn't, or refrain from commenting as a board member on social media.
I have
On
actually,
behalf of the board.
wait,
So that's what
no,
I'm
no,
saying.
we're not
On
speaking
behalf,
on
right.
behalf of the board, you're
Well, that's
speaking
why
as
I was asking
individuals.
what the language would look like, because
If
it
you're
depends on
speaking
what
as
it
an
says,
individual,
as to
then
whether
you
it
mentioned
would
Right,
be
you know
a
what?
First Amendment
I just-
concern or not.
I actually have an email from the head person of the policy committee, so I just wanna read the one sentence. I asked about social media. She said that, it specifically reminds board members and staff who are authorized to make statements about district-related matters, which is usually the board president and the superintendent. Being mindful of the fact that board members and staff, who are also parents of students and residents in the district, are not prohibited from making statements about district matters while wearing a parent or resident hat. And it said that they recommend that its conversations, trainings, and handbooks are not in a policy. That's from the head policy person at NISBA.
But that's where it's a slippery slope too, because most people do look at us, the board member first,
But it's,
not as an individual. I understand we're individuals, but I'm saying as far as holding ourselves to a higher standard.
but you can't, it is a slippery slope, I 100% agree with you, but you can't put something in there in writing
What
saying you
about,
cannot do
alright, that's if
something.
you're talking about school matters and things as a parent, but if you're saying something about the board
Defamation of the board,
or something like that,
or if
Would be
a faculty
different.
member, or whomever, someone in the
assume.
district.
But you know what, I mean, I've had conversations too with Ramona and with this woman too. The thing is what they're saying is, each of us, any one of us, can have an opinion of this district, of this staff, of the board itself. We're allowed to have a say. You can't say, because you're a board member, you are more restrictive than anybody else.
Yeah, but
You
actually,
can't do
you
it.
said that before, because we're board members, we're more restricted than anybody.
Oh, I always say that
Yeah.
I always say we're the most censored people
Yeah.
because
Right.
of confidentiality. I can't go out there and say what just happened in here a half hour ago.
What's right to say and what's not right to say, we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. I mean, we're board members.
But
It's
now we're confusing two different
Executive
issues.
session and confidentiality to moral, whatever you
Social
think
media
it is. Yeah,
posts.
it's,
Right, right.
I'm more inclined to come down on the side of First Amendment and not violating the First Amendment. I mean, I think it's questionable, and I would probably not comment at all, but I'm
Right,
banned
right.
on most of those Marathon sites for whatever reason. I don't know. I've never accepted anywhere. But I wouldn't comment at all, but I
Right.
think putting it in a policy is a bad idea. I'm just saying because it does,
puts you at risk
I'm
of
a
lawsuit.
big proponent of the First Amendment, and that
Yeah.
is something that we have dealt with as a board before. And I do not want to get anywhere near the First Amendment, because that's the First
That's good.
Amendment.
So maybe it's just, we need to just
Maybe
remind
it's
ourselves
just-
that we are healthy.
Yeah, that's something we discuss between ourselves.
Yeah.
But not, I think that's very dangerous.
Just wanna give a 4-minute
we got
warning.
it.
Yeah, I'm
We do
sorry.
have children tonight,
Yes.
so
Right,
we don't wanna
right.
hold
Should
them
set
up.
up, because I
All right,
do
so
want
let's
to make sure
move
they
on.
have a chance to.
Okay.
Okay,
What's
so,
the
Okay, so do we take
I
these
only,
out?
I only
Including the
pulled this,
policy
I pulled
meeting.
this policy out because I wasn't sure if
Oh.
you were gonna add language where you were gonna add it. It wasn't
No.
really
Which one?
specific.
So what is that?
The powers and duties.
oh, because that tied to the exhibit.
No, I think
Well,
so.
I wasn't sure
Didn't
what
we
you
just
needed.
go over that last
Yeah,
year?
that's.
Yeah, I
she's
just
Yes,
tried
we
to
did.
just-
Yeah.
We did, I just,
So are we taking this?
Okay.
Or taking that one?
Back to Amy.
I would
So
love
you want-
everything back.
You want
Take
everything
it all back.
Take it
Hold
all.
on, let me get my signed exhibits though separated.
Joanne, maybe you and I can try and tackle this. a
Yes,
little bit.
I will actually start on
Joe,
it
you have
and
this for me?
We can make
I
sure
have
that
one
we
more
can
for you for this
available
year.
somewhere.
You're on my list.
Okay, so we are concluding the policy meeting.
Oh,